in that cycle mode, but we saw him step up and evolve and get to a point where in the most beatdowny, one of the most beatdowny metas ever for World Finals, make it all the way to the top 2. So certainly a guy who can hit that flexibility, but then again, we're talking about Mohamed Light. Let's see. Now, I will say this, that if we work back to, I think it was the 2023 season, Pedro was the guy, right? He was the breakout star of that year. One of the only other people to put in 3 accounts in the top 10 on a ranked season finish. So this is one of those ones where I can watch these two go head-to-head every single time.
And the thing about Pedro, too, at that World Finals was you knew exactly what he was going to run. He was going to run minor control or he was going to run minor mortar, and he just did it over and over and over, and no one could do anything about it. So I really like that he's going back to minor control here against Mo in game number 1. Let these guys feel each other out, see how their nerves are going, see how their interactions, how on point they are. And so far, we've seen that Dark Goblin connect on the right-hand side, and you know, a little bit of minor damage on the right-hand side as well for Pedro.
Did not run it at all yesterday, but back to this very quick cycle for Pedro here in game number 1 against Mohamed Light. And, you know, I think that one of the things that doesn't get talked about enough is the nerves. I mean, we've talked about it some, but the nerves that even the top-tier players face, right? And you're trying to work on a tiny screen where one tile and one split second changes everything. And I think that when you realize that Mohamed Light actually is nervous when he's playing at these high games, Pedro, we've seen as well, has the same situation. The ability to overcome those nerves, I think, is one of the big separators between these two guys and a lot of the rest of the Clash Royale world.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be able to be emotionless in Clash Royale, as hard as that is to do. For the point of not getting, you know, too excited and making mistakes, but also for the point of when you lose a game or you lose a set, you have to bounce back.
So final minute of regulation, double elixir. Miner goes to the back, and Pedro recognizing there's no King Tower activation against that Miner. Let's start getting the mind games going as early as possible.
Yeah, that Berserker has to come on every single time to catch that Miner, and obviously for Mohamed Light, he hopes he places it in the right spot. The synergy with Vines and Wall Breakers or Vines and Goblin Barrel is really, really exciting, I think, for bait players, because it makes the Wall Breakers and those barrels effective. The regular barrels and the Wall Breakers still effective, even late game.
Mother Witch,
that's a lot of damage.
Yeah. Mother Witch trying to slow things down, but going to still take the damage. Things still close right now. Not quite a catch. And you see just Pedro leaving that one a little bit low, seeing that Mo's trying to kind of cover bases rather than maybe necessarily go for the direct catch and getting a little bit of damage, but it is Mohamed Light with the lead, 22-40 to 23-17.
This deck just does so well against bait in the sense of you have the log, you have the skellies, you have that Golden Knight to be able to deal with the regular barrel, and then of course you have the E-Spirit to deal with that Evo barrel, which is, you know, one of the best cards in the game to deal with the Evo barrel.
Berserker gets one on the left-hand side. Electro Spirit to absorb the Fire Spirit, and now red hair in both lanes.
Really nicely played there by Pedro. He doesn't send in the Miner. Mohamed Light goes Berserker left-hand lane, and then recognizes, okay, now I need to cover for the Miner. He drops the Valkyrie on top of the tower, and you know, no Miner comes in. So technically, Pedro could have sent in a Miner then, but instead decides to play some defense. Probably the better idea.
And Mohamed going to eat a little bit of damage here on the left-hand side, sacrificing for the need to defend the right-hand lane. Poison, though, starting to do its work for Pedro as we enter sudden death.
And this is exactly what he did back in 2023, although he's taken a lot of damage there, not using the ability, I think, on that Golden Knight. Instead, just kind of lets it swing away on those goblins, catches the Miner this time with the Berserker, but as you said, Rich, that poison damage is going to add up. Surprised that Pedro just took that much damage from the barrel.
And we are, similarly to what we saw earlier, we're in a situation again where one player has direct damage and the other player does not. So Pedro just has to prevent against these connections, but look at that one. Down to 1130, spent so much elixir and gave up so much damage, has to respond.
I have the replay up on my other screen, and in that moment it just looked like Pedro was ticked down to 1 with that Golden Knight, but he still could have used the ability, and wow, now running away with it in that bottom right-hand side.
Oh, my.
Just a misstep. just completely overwhelmed. Mo spends a little bit more than he needs to on offense, doesn't deal with the Evo Skellies on the left-hand side because he gets distracted by the...
Is that difference so many times. And Pedro, the maturity has grown, and you're also seeing why he's now a multiple-time world finalist and multiple at one time, at the same time, ranked finisher.
I mean, and also he just found himself in a really great matchup. You know, it's one of those things where the matchup is always a part of the conversation, especially with that champion in there and how fast that deck moves around, the 3-card cycle, the ability to deal with, as I was saying during that game, of being able to deal with the Evo barrels so cheaply with the E-Spirit. The amount of damage that Mo got was still incredibly impressive, but, you know, I stand by what I said, and that, you know, Pedro still is arguably the best minor poison control player in the world. I think maybe the other guy on the screen there, Mohamed Light, is the other person in that conversation.
So pretty quiet here in the first minute. The Rage doing just a little bit of chip damage here, but both players kind of sitting back. And, you know, I was curious as I was looking at the kind of beatdown meta that we're experiencing and seeing the rise of Golem as how much we might see some more of this going forward. But getting the Fish Boy out instead of waiting until the end, Pedro gets us going.
Evo Exy, interesting. I mean, definitely stacks up pretty well against a lot of things that are popular in the meta, because especially that, you know, Gob Giant deck we were talking yesterday, just everything piles up at the bridge. So if you have something like an Executioner that can hit all of it, or like a Bomber we saw yesterday have some good effects, makes sense why we're starting to see a little bit more of it.
Ram Rider slowing down the Royal Giant, guards plus Bandit, plenty of DPS to get things cleared. And really trying to double down on this one as, wow, the Fish Boy gets a little distracted, and finally the guard will do a ton of damage.
I like that a lot. I like that push from Mohamed Light. Just really, really aggressive. He does a great job defending against that Royal Giant with just units on the board that are going to create a huge counter push, guards and bandits to distract, and just great work there early on.
Evo Exy goes to the weak side of Pedro as the Spirit Empress gets cycled in the middle. And same defense one more time for Mohamed Light, or at least very similar. Let's see if Pedro makes an adjustment here.
Looking for the King Tower activation here.
And now getting his own counter push going. Monk way ahead. Bandit gonna grab the Monk. Monk should. There we go. And notice how that's not going to result in a King Tower activation. Obviously less important in a Royal Giant matchup, but every little bit can help.
Yeah, nice play there with the Monk ability. Super late, waiting for the defense to come down, then activating it, then getting the RG in, knowing that RG was really struggling against the Ram Rider. Ooh, boss man. This is a big push on that left-hand side.
Just guards to work on the right-hand side defense. Ram Rider still up. Boss Bandit gets handled by the Monk.
That defense was really clean on the left. Really well played there by Pedro.
And with the King Tower activation, Bandit has no chance of escaping that interaction.
And this RG still needs a little bit more. It gets a shot for sure. 2.
Wow, gets a couple.
And you can see
13.
Mo shocked.
And his offenses aren't translating now. Pedro's been doing a really good job of just completely shutting down the ability for anything to turn the opposite direction. So Mohamed Light has some math to do if he wants to get a win and stay in the upper bracket.
Yeah, you can definitely see Mo here just really upset with some of these interactions that he's you know, defensively and offensively. I'd say mainly defensively because it's keeping him off of the offensive side of the board. And now we'll see how this Ram Rider. That's a lot of, again, perfect cleanup there by Pedro.
Yeah, Ram Rider just not finding any way to get through. And then now you see, and look at the guards getting work. Now another Ram Rider, but Fisherman distracted on the right-hand side. Snowball not going to do enough. Oh no, the Ram Rider does just barely connect. 1741, but with 30 seconds left, is this enough? Oh my word.
Beautiful dual lane pressure there by Mo. He pulls out so much elixir on the left-hand side, then gets the next Ram Rider down. Just really, really greatly played. Has the Evo Snowball in hand. That was just a perfectly orchestrated offense by Mo Light.
raged up on the Royal Giant. That's going to be a lot of damage here. This RG might be enough. Ram Rider connects with 2:20 left, and Mohamed Light steals victory from the jaws of defeat.
Just going for the tower trade, going for the race. I always, not always, but a lot of the time will make you overspend, and then you pay for it down the line.
Fisherman Log and Evo Tesla all gone for Pedro. Does Mo consider going Royal Giant here?
Ice with Skelly. Looks like he might be going Mortar.
And building up a little bit. Let's see if Pedro doubles down. And
oh, wow.
3-3 split on the recruits.
This is interesting. This is not something that I'm super familiar with.
Did someone play... I'm going to sound foolish here. Did someone play Graveyard's Recruits yesterday?
I don't think so.
I thought I saw one weird, when I was looking through the deck, I saw one really weird Graveyard deck. But
it's hard to say. You know, a lot of decks played, and again, they're so different now. Like, we'll see such weird compositions. It's cards being paired with cards that you're not used to seeing. Yep, it is still Mortar with recruits, and I like that play because I think what the idea is there is, you know, Mo is kind of covering his bases to run into that Goblin Giant deck. Just, you know, a lot of good DPS, a lot of good slows. You got a good strong building there. You've got the arrows to take out. Usually, like a bomber is what's in there to support, even though the bomber's in this drill deck. And Mo going Mortar Miner. So, you know, something that we're not seeing a lot in the meta right now is Mortar and Miner together for some reason after the Miner nerf. But, you know, Mo wants to be able to play that control game, wants to be able to get on top of the tower.
Falk will clear that easy. First 2 minutes away, entering double elixir time. And so far, just a little bit of chip damage both ways as Mo mortars up.
Recruits tanking for that Miner. Miner goes to the back. I like that. And with Valkyrie being out of play or out of cycle, I'd be interested to see how Mo wants to use his Skeleton King as this game goes on.
Drill plus Berserker opposite direction. Skelly King going to work on defense. Gets rolled back. And very nice use of the gang and arrows there to clear. 25 seconds left in regulation. 22:85 to 26:65.
That's something that Mo's just going to have to do as this game goes on. It gets a lot harder and double and triple, but you got to keep track of when that Evo Snowball is coming out. He's got a lot of really great counters for Drill in the sense that he has the recruits. Those are pretty good, but Skeleton King and Gang are both exceptional against Drill, so got to make sure that you're keeping track of that Snowball Evo. Skeleton King goes opposite lane. I think Mo wanted to go to the right.
Yeah, just got a little distracted and wandered over there, said, hey, what's that?
It's one of the best cards in the game for countering it, the Valkyrie.
And the Snowball plus Berserker to get the Miner off tower. $90 seconds left.
Yeah, the thing is that Berserker is just so good at dealing with miners. You know, Mo's still going to be able to get miners here and there, but the again, that nerf and damage just makes him just a little bit less effective. Pedro, very patient player, is probably just happy to hold on to this small lead that he has.
Miner goes to the front. Nothing there for it. But as you talked about, the nerf and damage, and Mo's just trying to play catch up here, and it's a struggle. Valk swings on the right-hand side, so now more trouble. Miner to the back. Evo Snowball rolls it back.
And that's really good for Mo. I mean, he sees that Evo Snowball's out of cycle. All of a sudden, his defense against the Drill becomes a lot easier. Still has to make up a couple hundred damage in this last 45 seconds, but at least doesn't have to worry about that Evo Snowball, I think, for probably the rest of the game. Maybe he might have to deal with one more in the final second. That's maybe what Pedro's going for timing-wise.
Evo recruits split. Valk working against him on the left-hand side. 28 seconds left. 1976. The two towers from Mohamed Light.
Mo looking a little bit of a struggle on his face, just not sure how he's going to break through. That Goblin Hut is such a nuisance right now. I mean, you don't have a big spell to take it off the board. You got to use the arrows to deal with the bomber, or else the bomber's going to just do way too much damage against your Skeleton King ability, plus the Miner on tower. And there you go. Does get that final Evo Snowball in. And that is so well timed by Pedro. He goes, I got 45 seconds. I need to get 3 more snowballs out in this game, and he gets it in the final moment there. We saw that yesterday as well, and that's just beautifully played by the Brazilian, sending Mo to the lower bracket, which